Good to have you here once again. I'm Kerton, Chairman of the Telecom Council. We're going to resume our case studies. Really quick reminders, the things to try to look for when the carriers present, look for them to explicitly say what their needs are. That's really good information. And then when we go into the discussion, we're going to be talking about how the startups made those engagements with the carriers. A lot of lessons to be learned for everyone else out there. I don't think there's any one example that you can take directly apply to your own situation. But put together all these case studies, you start to see, as we talk about some of the hurdles, we start to talk about some of the things that worked. Together in aggregate, there's some really valuable lessons that have tactical value for people who want to work with network operators immediately. This next week and over the next year, you can use these lessons. So the next case study is a little bit inverted because typically we go with the carrier first speaking and then their partner speaking. Deutsche Telekom and VeloCloud flipped it over. So I'd like to invite up first Mike Wood and Sumanth. I'm just going to say Sumanth from Deutsche Telekom. Sumanth, over to you. All right, good luck out there. Thanks.
So I'm Mike Wood. This is Sumanth. I'm from the VP of Marketing with VeloCloud Networks. We're a cloud-delivered SD-WAN company. There are three primary challenges that enterprises are facing today with their wide area networks. The first one is that branch deployment has become complex in terms of deploying wide area networks to the branch. Application performance is really driving much more rapid bandwidth demands out to branch offices, and it's becoming more expensive to get branch office bandwidth out to those locations over the private wide area network. And cloud migration of SaaS applications, infrastructure, and platform as a service is breaking today's traditional wide area networks that are 10, 20, 30 years in terms of their architecture. VeloCloud believes that the cloud is the network. We do a number of things. One is we provide an overlay which takes and transforms the internet into literally a service provider class, enterprise class, wide area network for enterprises and branch office locations. Secondarily, we drive down the complexity of WAN deployment with zero-touch deployments and automation. We also drive up the application performance and quality for those applications, reliability for those applications, and availability for those applications. And even more importantly, we extend the enterprise network out into the cloud to the front doorstep of just about every single major cloud service that's out there, whether it's infrastructure as a service, software as a service, or platform as a service, B2B internet, and generic internet. And we do this all by incorporating the internet in addition to allowing enterprises and carriers to preserve their investment in MPLS. And the way that service providers are working with VeloCloud is to take their existing MPLS networks, they're not changing them, but augmenting them with VeloCloud cloud-delivered SD-WAN. The way they do this is they take VeloCloud gateway devices, which are truly multi-tenant, all the way from the data plane, control plane, up to the orchestration plane, and integrate those at the core of the MPLS network with the PE devices, and extend and expand that MPLS network by leveraging the internet to be able to drive increased bandwidth at a very high reliability level, high quality level, all the way down to every single branch office that they service today, but even more importantly, the ability to expand beyond their footprint, whether it's regional, national, global footprint, and expand beyond that to deliver services out to locations that they've never been able to reach before without complicated partnerships. So I'd like to invite Sumanth up. Sumanth is with Deutsche Telekom, a VeloCloud customer, and Sumanth's going to talk a bit about a use case for SD-WAN that involved VeloCloud.
Hello, my name is Sumanth Sathyanarayana. I'm a research engineer at Deutsche Telekom Innovation Labs. So the agenda for today is, firstly, I'll be briefly going over who we are at Deutsche Telekom, and then I'll be going over the use case which we conducted with VeloCloud on their SD-WAN solution. So to begin with, you all know that Deutsche Telekom is one of the largest service providers in the world, and in the US itself, we have 5 different business units. I come from the T-Labs unit, or the Telecom Innovation Labs unit, which is the research wing of Deutsche Telekom. And there is this Deutsche Telekom Partnering Inc., which is the business development group, or they also help in finding partners for the European telecom market. The third business group is the T-Ventures group, which helps find different startups and invest in them. The fourth business group is the T-Systems group, which is the IT group of Deutsche Telekom, which also has its own cloud offering called the Open Telecom Cloud Platform. The fifth business group is the Datacon Group, which is the software consultancy group of Deutsche Telekom. T-Labs, as such, is located in 3 different places. In Germany, it is located in Berlin and is also headquartered in Berlin and also in Darmstadt. In Israel, it is located in Tel Aviv, and in the Silicon Valley, it is located in Mountain View, where I come from. So, as a research wing of Deutsche Telekom, we focus on various different verticals of business, and they are voice and video, 5G, big data, security, etc. At the Mountain View office over here, we focus on cloud and virtualization, and inside that, we basically focus mostly on SDN, IoT, and enabling platforms. At T-Labs, basically we do 2 things. One is we evaluate various startups, and we also develop our own prototypes, which could then be productized. A brief history about our labs. T-Labs was started in around 12 to 13 years back, and the Silicon Valley chapter itself began in 2008 when the Clean Slate program inside Stanford Networks Research Lab was taking place. T-Labs partnered with Stanford University and NEC during that time in 2008, which led to the birth of software-defined networking. Our research engineers back then, Rob Sherwood and Srini Seetharaman, were one of the pioneers in the SDN revolution, and we also developed the first open-sourced network hypervisor called the FlowVisor. From then on, SDN has been an integral part of our labs, and apart from SDN, we have several different focus, such as machine learning, security, containers, and IoT. So if you have any great solution in any of these areas, please do contact us for a technological evaluation at the address shown over here for T-Labs, or also you could contact the business development group or the T-Ventures group if you're looking for having some investment in your startup. So these are some of the companies, startups, and various universities with which T-Labs collaborates. So as I mentioned, T-Labs had a history with SDN. We wanted to take SDN from data centers to the wide area network, and were looking for various companies which are working in this regard. VeloCloud's solution was a simple plug-and-play solution and had a simple architecture to it, and we found their solution catering to our needs, and therefore we thought VeloCloud's solution should be evaluated in our office, and we brought their solution to our office for evaluation purposes. The solution itself is basically, it makes use of the same software-defined approach to the wide area network, wherein it segregates the control and data plane and makes the network more open, programmable, and flexible. It's a simple overlay approach for deploying and managing the WAN connectivity in enterprise branch offices. Thereby, it reduces the CapEx and OpEx of the WAN infrastructure. It provides intelligent multipath optimization for business-critical applications, which dynamically steers these business-critical applications through the best available paths. It takes the ordinary broadband links and converts it into near MPLS kind of connectivity using various algorithms like forward error correction, etc., on the ordinary broadband links, and makes it extremely reliable, fast, secure, and cost-effective. So now let me go over the use case which we conducted along with VeloCloud's SD-WAN solution. What we wanted to achieve was we wanted to establish a SD-WAN testbed between our T-Labs Mountain View office and the Berlin office. And after that, as a use case or an application on top of VeloCloud solution, we thought remote 3D printing could be an interesting use case in this regard. So before explaining the remote 3D printing aspect of before explaining that use case, let me explain the setup which we had to do for setting up the VeloCloud solution. So firstly, we brought the VeloCloud edge devices, which are shown over here in the white boxes, and that white box had to be connected to an Ethernet jack, which is connected to internet. So this we did both in the Berlin office as well as in Mountain View office, and once the edge was connected to an Ethernet jack, we had to activate this box using the management plane of VeloCloud, which is the VeloCloud orchestrator. This establishes an IPsec connection from the edge device to the VeloCloud gateway. This gateway could be located in your own data center if security is a concern, or it could also be located in VeloCloud's data center. For our initial purposes of evaluation, we used VeloCloud's data center itself, wherein the gateway router was brought up. This gateway router then establishes the optimal path from one edge to another edge and lays the IPsec connectivity from Mountain View office to the Berlin office. Once this VPN connection was established from the Berlin office to Mountain View office, all the personal devices like laptops and mobiles could be connected over the Wi-Fi access point inbuilt on the VeloCloud edge devices and establish communication from one branch office to another securely over the VPN connection. Once this setup was achieved, which was more like as Mike mentioned, a zero-touch deployment, a plug-and-play kind of solution, we thought we'll have a use case wherein we wanted to print 3D, we basically wanted to establish a 3D printing use case remotely, wherein the 3D printers in Mountain View were connected to VeloCloud's SSID, the Wi-Fi SSID, and using basically a Raspberry Pi board. And once the 3D printers were connected to VeloCloud's Wi-Fi connection, the Berlin office were able to send the G code, which is required for starting the 3D printing. The G code represents the code for the object which has to be 3D printed, and they were able to send this G code over VeloCloud solution securely, and at the same time, they were also able to observe the object which was being 3D printed from the Berlin's office, making use of a camera which was also connected to through a Raspberry Pi board to the VeloCloud solution. Thus, they were able to send the G code and start the 3D printing, and were also able to observe the object being 3D printed remotely, and at the same time, they were able to see the network traffic like jitter, latency, bandwidth, etc., related to network traffic on the VeloCloud orchestrator. So thus, we had established the first use case wherein we were able to start a remote 3D printing using VeloCloud's SD-WAN solution, and the entire setup was fairly simple, and we had achieved it within a matter of a week. There was also another use case, which I can't reveal today, but we connected various factory sites back in Germany using VeloCloud solution. So as a summary, we were able to establish a SD-WAN testbed between our Mountain View offices and Berlin office and start remote 3D printing and monitoring within a matter of a week and less than a week. Thank you.
Okay, great stuff. Thank you, gentlemen. I don't know where to start. I think it was one of the things I can do is I'm very neutral on this, but I think there's a battle out there, and I don't think I'm speaking on behalf of T-Mobile at all. It's telecom services versus these new class of services that compete, and so it's MPLS versus an SD-WAN solution like VeloCloud has. So make sure everybody knows that that's kind of a battle, and the carriers. Typical carriers, because I'm not speaking for you, I don't think, would say, that SD-WAN stuff can never offer the quality of service and the reliability that we offer as a telco. So I think it's important that I at least play the role of acknowledging to everybody that that's there. And what you're proposing, I'm going to let you rebut and defend this. I have no horse in this race. But they say, MPLS is dedicated line from the carrier, reliable service, SLAs, quality of service in place. We can guarantee the connectivity to your branch offices. That's why you want to pay us the big bucks. The guys coming along with SD-WAN solutions are traveling over best effort pipes. And that might work in the short term, but as those pipes might get full, who knows what that would deliver. So, pulling that out, that 800-pound elephant out of the corner and throwing it up there, tell me why you guys can defeat that.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. Derek, I would say a year and a half, 2 years ago, there was that tension existed.
Yeah.
It's dramatically changed now, and you're seeing nearly every major carrier announcing an SD-WAN solution. Earthlink just yesterday morning announced VeloCloud-powered SD-WAN. Other carriers have announced also.
Congrats.
More will come. I think what's happened is that One is that their customer sets are asking them to deliver SD-WAN to them, and so they're finding that there's a draw there, there's a pull there. They're also able to really expand bandwidth, so they're seeing a value proposition there through that. And I think the third piece is carriers are looking to drive up ARPU, and this is a great way to do it for them. They've got a sticky relationship already with their customer base. They go in, they sell them additional bandwidth, they preserve the investment in the MPLS, continue to use that contract that they have there, and add cloud services, either first-party cloud services that they deliver themselves, or third-party cloud services that they resell. Ultimately, these enterprises want to come back to that carrier and the relationship they have with them and continue that relationship.
That sounds compelling. So it sounds like you're going to leverage the flexibility of an SD-WAN over an MPLS as well and be able to sell additional services. And there's probably also a certain amount of, if you don't cannibalize yourself, you can just wait for somebody else to do it.
Absolutely.
So, and that said, it's been an interesting afternoon of seeing Twilio up here, also with a Deutsche Telekom company, T-Mobile, where carriers are partnering with these former competitors and using them, leveraging them in interesting ways. That's really what we're talking about. Like, if you want to be aggressive, you can build a lot of things and maybe try, maybe succeed, maybe fail, or you can work with a partner. So Sumanth, you must have overcome some kind of cultural challenges to kind of say, yep, we want to partner with a company like VeloCloud. How easy was that for you in this partnership? Was T-Mobile, Deutsche Telekom rather, aggressive in doing this and ready, or did it take some convincing?
I think as we are a research lab, we are always forward focused.
Yes.
And we had a history with SDN. So as I mentioned in the talk also, like we wanted to bring SDN to SD-WAN. And we were actually actively looking for SD-WAN companies, and we went and talked to various companies. And then once we had decided upon and narrowed down upon the company which we wanted to work with and have a use case initially, so it was like within a month or two, we had the entire, we had understood their solution, and we had brought their solution to our office for evaluation. And once that was done, it was like within a month. Like the entire process took like 3 months.
So you described the early relationship, which is interesting, and it went to deployment very quickly. Was it simple to deploy a partnership with VeloCloud?
Yeah, I think it was fairly simple. We did go and talk to various companies as well. So
I guess, Velo, you guys don't really require them to change anything they're already doing, right? This is just something else they can sell.
Yeah, exactly. Investment protection, looking at total cost of ownership, zero-touch deployment, automation, the overlay model, integration with what you've got today is essential.
So the enterprise that chooses to go with an SD-WAN connection for the branch offices, how flexible is that for the IT manager? What kind of tool set does the IT manager have? Which one he wants to handle to kind of manage that branch connection?
So basically, you could make use of the VeloCloud Orchestrator, which provides various tools for the network-related tools. So VeloCloud's Orchestrator is, in that sense, very capable, and we made use of their tools for...
So the IT manager goes in the orchestrator, identifies, I value voice packets over these packets. Turns out web is very important. So even though it's normally deprioritized, I'm going to raise it for this particular branch or something like that.
Yeah, per application, you can set the priority. Like if you want in your enterprise office or in your branch office, you don't want Facebook to be the higher priority and want some other business critical application to be the higher priority, then you can set the priorities for each individual application through the orchestrator.
Can you dial it down to this level? Facebook, great example, because I put that at low priority for my branch, but I got a social media marketing person, and for that person, I'm going to bump up. Are you able to do it down to that desktop layer?
You can get pretty granular. What we've got, we are able to detect over 2,500 different applications, both on-premise but also in the cloud, and deliver the business priority that you need to each one of those.
So let's talk about dates a little bit. When did you first engage or first meet Deutsche Telekom Labs?
It was probably, I'd say it's maybe about a year and a half or 2 years ago, somewhere around that. Sumanth,
a year and a half or a year ago,
And then that's where it picked up the process. You said very quickly into the labs where you're always forward-looking. And then you guys realized this was a very low risk. And which business unit chose to adopt and go with it? Who made that decision?
So basically, that decision was made. We connect the companies over here to back in Germany. And that decision was made by the T-Labs Berlin group and also the T-Systems group, which is the IT systems group of Deutsche Telekom.
So what was the first introduction? VeloCloud had to those people? Was it after your evaluation when you said, okay, we can now recommend this?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that, they basically were exposed to this with your recommendation, and within, was it 2 months, you said, they were able to say,
Yeah.
wow.
Within 2 months, yeah.
So you're not talking about a torturous process here.
No.
How old's the company?
So VeloCloud was founded in 2012. We began shipping around 2014.
Yep.
We have over 280 customers. We have the 2 largest SD-WAN wins in the world, as verified by multiple independent
those?
analysts. I can't exactly say the
Okay.
names of them, but there's a services company and a retailer.
Are you not able to say because they're recent or just because it's a confidential deal?
Just because they have asked,
Long-term confidential deal.
confidential,
Okay,
yeah.
good. All right, so we're not waiting to hear. It's just we're not gonna.
well, you never know. You never know. They could go public.
All right, and once again, we'll look to those microphones in the last minute here. If anybody has a question, watch. Oh, looks like there's one. So I'll take it right away. Alan, go ahead.
Thank you. Seeing that there are no standards for SD-WANs, and in an overlay network, it's a mix of existing network equipment with, in this case, VeloCloud's edge device and gateway orchestrator. How is failure detection and restoration done in this overlay type of network?
Yeah, so question is about open standards around SD-WAN and failure detection, root cause, things like that. So VeloCloud has been a member of the Open Network User Group, ONUG, for quite a few years. Now, one of the things that we recently did with ONUG is have announced that we're driving even greater interoperability between solutions and looking for open standards to be able to drive that. VeloCloud does interoperate with existing MPLS networks. We supported a number of protocols in that space, a number of security protocols also, like AES-256, IPsec, and key exchanges. So a lot of protocols, a lot of standardization that's supported within the VeloCloud, at least SD-WAN solution. When you look at failures, link conditions, things like that, the VeloCloud solution not only interoperates with the existing MPLS network, but also folds in the internet, whether it's wired or wireless, and has the ability literally to monitor every single link, whether it's a link that's on your private network or a link on your public network, and all the applications traversing those links. So we can very quickly identify, as Sumanth said, we measure all the bandwidth, jitter, delay, packet loss across each one of those links, and have the ability to make changes, adaptations based on that, a very low level and steering application between each of the links. We can also provide notifications if there's an issue. We basically proactively address any issues within the network and apply your business policy that you set at a high level all the way down throughout the network.
So that's part of my answer to part of my question on the failure detection, but what about restoration? There's a failed circuit, a failed network element, and there are existing legacy MPLS network elements plus your own. How do you coordinate the restoration path? Because you've got to find a new path.
Right.
That's the most important part of it.
I completely agree. So if there's a failure in the network, whether it's a degradation in your parameters for quality, packet loss, for say, and jitter, or it's bandwidth restrictions, we will steer around that issue to another link that's got the right parameters existing there. If a link goes out completely, because we're operating at such a low level, we'll steer the applications away from that link and keep every single session, every single call, every single connection up and running on that particular session that's going, and steer it across to a different link. If that first link then becomes better in terms of the quality level, we'll actually steer traffic back over that link, or we may steer it between both links or multiple links across
Michael,
that. In addition to that, we also do remediation. So we'll repair the links themselves surgically for each specific application that's most important to you through forward error correction, packet replication, jitter buffering.
What would I see, a typical branch connected with? Would I see them, you're out in the suburbs, you're a branch of some retailer or some company. I say, well, I'm going to have a DSL, a cable modem, and a 4G LTE modem all plugged into your thing, and you can multipath and bond those three together?
Absolutely.
Is that
And I'll
pretty typical?
That's absolutely true. In fact, if you, Levi's Stadium, where the Super Bowl was played,
Yeah.
was built by a company called DevCon Construction. The IT director there manages the entire network. They can have up to 50 different sites up and running at one time.
Yeah.
He sat down and he told me across from his desk, he said, Mike, a lot of times when I go out to one of these new sites, there's no cable, There's no DSL. There's certainly no MPLS lines.
Yep.
It's just an open lot, and so they'll light up either 3G, 4G, or they'll light up point-to-point microwave towers.
Yep.
They'll do all sorts of things, and they'll bring that site up like that, built-in Wi-Fi.
You got a mobile unit with Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, and AT&T all built in, maybe anyone else too, and multipath that through one of your end things and just deliver pretty high-quality services.
That's right. You could route across or steer across each of those.
Pretty neat. All right, so we'll take one more question, we'll wrap up.
So different topic area. In terms of developing the relationship, that cycle time for working with a carrier sounded very fast. I'm more accustomed to competitive evaluations, getting through procurement, contracting, legal, security reviews. Never heard it happen that fast. Can you help us understand a little bit more?
Okay, the initial 2 months was understanding their solution and understanding the competitor solution by going and speaking to them, and then bringing the product for evaluation purposes. Then once that was done, we had like the entire setup done within like a week, and within a month, the entire operation was completed, like from here to, from the Mountain View office to the Berlin office. After that, we had to write our own technological evaluation report. That took another 1 or 2 months. I'm saying the 2 or 3 months is to get the product up and running from the Mountain View office along with the Berlin office. And then the evaluation report itself took like another 1 to 2 months. So totally it was 6 months, but we had started and initiated the process within a couple of months, basically.
This is just a brief follow-up. So 6 months to get to like a commercial agreement or to get to commercial launch? What was the
6 months to get the entire setup running, and also we had a commercial agreement by the end of 6 months, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll wrap it. In the commercial launch was at that point immediately, or did it take a little longer?
So the commercial agreement is only with T-Labs. It's not like with the Deutsche Telekom, the service provider itself. So the commercial agreement was only within the research unit.
Yep.
So that was within 6 months.
Right. Good. And now you're currently available to customers in Germany through Deutsche Telekom.
We've got over 130 different partners altogether.
Yep.
Many of them are carriers, service providers, telcos, along with system integrators, value-added resellers. So one way or another, we can get you
Yep.
can get you a solution out there.
All right. All right, great. Sounds like a nice rapid adoption process, at least partnering, and a good way to work with Deutsche Telekom through the labs. So for that, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you, Derek.
So next